everybody, and welcome to week 2 of our winter story time. Today we're going to share stories and rhymes about the clothes you need to keep warm in winter. But before we do that, let's get to our welcome song. As always, I'll sing it 2 times so you get a chance to learn the words. On the count of 3, it goes like this. 1, 2, 3. Peek-a-boo, peek-a-boo, I see you, I see you. I see your button nose, I see your tiny toes. Peek-a-boo, I see you. All right, are you ready to sing with me? On the count of 3, we'll try it. 1, 2, 3. Peek-a-boo, peek-a-boo, I see you, I see you. I see your button nose, I see your tiny toes. Peek-a-boo, I see you. All right, that was great. And now it's time for our first story. This first story is called Froggy Gets Dressed. You may know Froggy from some of his other books. And this story is by Jonathan London. Here we go. It was cold. Froggy woke up and looked out the window. "Snow! Snow!" he sang. "I want to play in the snow." "Go back to sleep, Froggy," said his mother. "Don't you know? Frogs are supposed to sleep all winter. Wake up when the snow melts." "No, no!" cried Froggy. "I'm awake, awake. I want to go out and play in the snow." So Froggy put on his socks. Zoop! Pulled on his boots. Zoop! Put on his hat. Zat! Tied on his scarf. Zwit! Tugged on his mittens. Zoom! And flopped outside into the snow. Flop, flop, flop. "Froggy!" called his mother. "What?" yelled Froggy. "Did you forget to put something on?" Froggy looked down. "Whoops!" cried Froggy. "I forgot to put on my pants!" He flopped back inside the house. Flop, flop, flop. Tugged off his mittens, untied his scarf, took off his hat, pulled off his boots. He left his socks on, and slipped his pants on. Zip! Then he pulled on his boots. Zip! Put on his hat. Zat! Tied on his scarf. Zwit! Tugged on his mittens. Zoom! And flopped back outside into the snow. Flop, flop, flop. "Froggy!" called his mother. "What?" yelled Froggy. "Did you forget to put something on?" Froggy looked down. "Oops!" he cried. "I forgot to put on my shirt." "And your coat," added his mother. He flopped back inside. Flop, flop, flop. Tugged off his mittens, untied his scarf, took off his hat. He left his pants, boots, and socks on, and buttoned up his shirt. Zut, zut, zut. Then he snapped on his coat. Snap. Put on his hat. Zat. Tied on his scarf. Zwit. Tugged on his mittens. Zoom. And flopped back outside into the snow. Flop, flop, flop. "Froggy!" called his mother. "What?" yelled Froggy. "Did you forget to put something on?" Froggy looked down. He had on his mittens. He had on his scarf. He had on his coat. He had on his shirt. He had on his pants. He had on his boots. He had on his socks. He reached up. Yep, he had on his hat. What could be missing? "Your underwear!" his mother laughed. "Whoops!" cried Froggy, looking more red in the face than green. He flopped back inside. Flop, flop, flop. Tugged off his mittens, untied his scarf, unsnapped his coat, unbuttoned his shirt, unzipped his pants, pulled off his boots, took off his socks. He left his hat on, and slipped his long johns on with a zap of elastic. Then he put on one sock. Zoop! Put on one boot. Zip! tugged on one mitten, zum, started to tug on the other, and let it drop. "Oh," he said, "I'm too tired." And went back to sleep. Good night, Froggy. The end. All right. Froggy had a lot of different things to put on, and we're going to sing a song about some of those things. Oh, there go our books. Oops. Well, we'll get to them later. First, can you show me where your winter hat might go? Right up here on top of your head? How about your mittens? They go on your hands, right? And your boots, right down here on your feet? All right. Those are all of the parts that we need to sing our next song. On the count of 3, I'll sing it once, and then we can sing it all together. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3. The hat on my head keeps me warm, keeps me warm, keeps me warm. The hat on my head keeps me warm all winter long. Now we're going to sing about our mittens. Are you ready? The mittens on my hands keep me warm, keep me warm, keep me warm. The mittens on my hands keep me warm all winter long. Now we're going to sing about our boots. Here we go. The boots on my feet keep me warm, keep me warm, keep me warm. The boots on my feet keep me warm all winter long. Are you ready to sing along with me? On the count of 3, we'll try it. 1, 2, 3. The hat on my head keeps me warm, keeps me warm, keeps me warm. The hat on my head keeps me warm all winter long. The mittens on my hands keep me warm, keep me warm, keep me warm. The mittens on my hands keep me warm all winter long. The boots on my feet keep me warm, keep me warm, keep me warm. The boots on my feet keep me warm all winter long. All right, thank you so much for singing along with me. Now it's time for our second book. This next one is called Snow Day, and it's by Patricia Lakin. All right, here we go. "Look," said Sam. "Where?" said Pam. "Outside," said Will. "Why?" said Jill. "Snow," said Sam, Pam, Will, and Jill. "Long undies," said Sam. "Boots," said Pam. "Mittens," said Will. "Scarves," said Jill. "Sleds," said Sam, Pam, Will, and Jill. "We forgot," said Sam. "What?" said Pam. "Our helmets," said Will. "Our goggles," said Jill. "Ready," said Sam, Pam, Will, and Jill. "The yard," said Sam. "The walk," said Pam. "The drive," said Will. "The hill," said Jill. "Yes," said Sam, Pam, Will, and Jill. "Stop," said Sam. "What for?" said Pam. "What now?" said Will. "What's up?" said Jill. "School," said Sam. "School," sighed Sam, Pam, Will, and Jill. "We can fix it," said Sam. "If we scram," said Pam. "Let's hurry," said Will. "Let's go," said Jill. "Now," said Sam, Pam, Will, and Jill. They threw down their sleds. They ran inside. They took off their mittens. They took off their boots. They took off their goggles. They took off their helmets. They took off their scarves. They ran to their phones. They phoned in the news. "This is Principal Sam," said Sam. "This is Principal Pam," said Pam. "This is Principal Will," said Will. "This is Principal Jill," said Jill. "Snow day today," they all said. All schools are closed, said the news. Sam, Pam, Will, and Jill smiled. They put on their scarves. They put on their helmets. They put on their goggles. They put on their boots. They put on their mittens. They ran outside. They picked up their sleds. They ran up the hill. Whee! Sang Sam, Pam, Will, and Jill. And they sledded and sledded all day. The end. Oh, right. Are you ready to try one more rhyme with me? This next one is about our mittens. Can you hold up your hands for me? All right. We're going to rub our palms together. They're nice and snuggly and fuzzy. We're going to wiggle our fingers because the big part of our mittens fit these 4 fingers. And we're going to stick out our thumbs, make our mitten hands. All right. And we've got, let's see, our left hand over on your side over here and our right hand over here. And I think these are all the motions we need to get our rhyme ready. On the count of 3, I'll say it once and then we'll say it all together. Are you ready? On the count of 3, it goes like this. 1, 2, 3. Here is a mitten, a snug fuzzy one, with a place for my fingers and a place for my thumb. Here are 2 mittens, a colorful sight, one for my left hand and one for my right. Here are mittens, as soft as can be, a warm pair for you and a warm pair for me. All right? You think you can do the motions and words along with me? On the count of 3, we'll try it. 1, 2, 3. Here is a mitten, a snug fuzzy one, with a place for my fingers and a place for my thumb. Here are 2 mittens, a colorful sight, one for my left hand and one for my right. Here are our mittens, as soft as can be, a warm pair for you and a warm pair for me. And that's it. We're done. Thank you for saying that rhyme along with me. Now, before we move on to our craft, we're going to sing our goodbye song for the week. Are you ready to sing along? As always, I'll sing it once first, and then we'll sing it together. On the count of 3, it goes like this. 1, 2, 3. Oh, it's time to say goodbye to all our friends. Yes, it's time to say goodbye to all our friends. Oh, it's time to say goodbye. Give a wave and wink your eye. Yes, it's time to say goodbye to all our friends. Goodbye, friends. All right, will you sing with me one more time? Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Oh, it's time to say goodbye to all our friends. Yes, it's time to say goodbye to all our friends. Oh, it's time to say goodbye. Give a wave and wink your eye. Yes, it's time to say goodbye to all our friends. Goodbye, friends. All right, we're going to take a quick break for just a moment. I'll meet you back here and we'll do our craft. See you soon. Welcome back. Today for our craft, we're going to be making press-painted mittens. What you're going to need is a piece of paper. I have construction paper, but you could use any kind of paper you happen to have in your house. A marker of some sort, some scissors, any kind of paint you might have handy. I happen to have some acrylic paint, but if you have poster board paint, whatever you've got on hand. And if you happen to have a hole punch, that will be helpful, but it is not necessary. And what you're going to do is start by taking your paper and folding it in half. Just like this. On one half, you're going to draw the shape of a mitten. This definitely does not have to be anything fancy. The mitten I drew looks like this. Once you have the outline of your mitten drawn, you're going to take your paint and just sort of dab things around. You don't really, ooh, that's a big blob orange. You don't really have to be too precise. I'm just doing some dots of paint for mine. Got some orange, I've got a little bit of yellow here. Let's see. Wow, that's all blobby. And last but not least, we're going to add some green. And once you've got a decent amount of paint on your page, what you're going to do is fold it in half. And this is where the pressing comes in. We call it press painting. You're just going to rub your hand right along here and try not to squeeze the paint out from the paper. Just spread it around so that you're really covering that whole mitten outline that you drew. When you open it up, you're going to see that the paint has spread around. If your whole mitten isn't covered, mine's not, you can actually just fold it up again and make sure you smush it around so that all the parts of your mitten are nicely painted, like this. And then you're going to wait for it to dry. So we'll be back in just a couple of minutes after our painting has dried. Alright, our paint has mostly dried and we are ready to finish our craft. Once your paint is dried, you're going to take your picture and fold it back so that the paint is on the outside. Now you should have a nice crease down the middle from where we folded it before. And by now you should be able to see the outline of your mitten that you drew earlier when you were, before you painted. You're going to take your scissors and cut all around that outline. So now you should have 2 painted mittens. What you can do now with your string and your hole punch, if you have it, you're just going to cut a little length of string, yarn, whatever you happen to have, and we're going to hole punch each corner so we can attach our mittens together. So 1 hole, 2 holes, and you can just send your string through the holes you've punched. If you don't have a hole punch, that's fine. You can just poke through with a pencil. And 2. Tie that together. And if need be, maybe trim it a little. And there you have it, a nicely matched pair of painted mittens. Thank you so much for joining us this week. Hope to see you back next week. Bye!